Networking is more like mining, because if you're not networking, you're not working. So it's part of the work day. So whether it's a coffee, a breakfast, a lunch, a cocktail, a dinner, or just a pure networking event, it's something that should be on your calendar every single day. I promise you, your business will grow by 20%. Can't guarantee it, but I will promise you it will grow by at least 20%.
I love that. So I call it rainmaking. And there's, if you really want to delve deep in this, we've had two rainmaking webinars and they're on our YouTube channel, the 10 Golden Rules YouTube channel. But, some of the things that I think are super important in this category is that referrals are such a huge part of business, every business. And every law firm will tell you their best cases or most of their cases come from referrals, either from referring attorneys, past clients, referring strategic business partners, professional services. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whatever time you're listening to this podcast, welcome to the 10 Golden Rules of Internet Marketing for Law Firms podcast. We've got a great guest today. And if you're a regular, thank you for coming back. If you're a newbie and you like the show, don't forget to subscribe if you're watching on iTunes or if you're listening to this on YouTube, Podbean, any of the Spotify. Definitely subscribe to the show so we can get you back again when we have great guests. And guess what? We have amazing guests every single week. And this week, we've got a really interesting guest and strategy because Bianca Moreiras and myself are going to share with you the top 10 list for running your law firm, the 10 golden rules for running your law firm. Bianca, welcome to the 10 Golden Rules of Internet Marketing for Law Firms podcast.
Thank you, Jay. I'm so glad to have made this podcast.
Awesome. Well, great to have you. Now, Bianca and I go way back. I don't know, 5 or 10 years. We probably could figure it out if we tried. But we definitely met at FLN, the Florida Lawyers Network. Shout out to Mo, who also has a great podcast. Or we met at some other networking groups or some conferences. But Bianca's like a superstar rock star. We've done a bunch of things together. We've chaired meetings together, done networking groups, and she's recently helped out one of our clients. I'm really thrilled to have Bianca, but her company is called Bianca Moreiras and Associates. Did you hire a branding company to come up with that? No, just kidding. So,
Of course.
but Bianca is really, really great at helping you run your law firm. And so today we're going to give you some super practical tips and strategies. Bianca, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background, your journey, and how you got into the legal business a long time ago. So tell us about your journey.
Awesome. Thank you for that question, Jay. Well, I am going into my fourth decade in the legal space, 20 years in my own business, in business
Awesome.
consulting and coaching for law firms. And I just love what I do. I'm passionate about what I do. Some people laugh. How did you last with attorneys for so long? I love them. They're smart. They're full of wisdom. And the best part for me is sometimes they don't get business, what it's about and where you can go. I started off cutting my teeth as an administrator, moved into a marketing executive director position, and then I put on my wings and took off all on my own. And here I am today.
By the way, a lot of people make lawyer jokes or think there's a lot of lawyer jokes, but I think that's propaganda spread by the insurance companies and the people, the defense firms, because I've been in 3 car accidents, unfortunately, and I needed a lawyer for 2 out of the 3 of them, or they wouldn't have fixed my car, they wouldn't have paid for my medical. I think that lawyers get a bad rap, and most of them are great guys. We have a niche marketing agency. We only work with lawyers. And one of the things I tell people when they're considering picking a niche is go to a conference and spend like 3 days with the people who are going to be in your niche. Because I like hanging out with lawyers. I mean, generally they're educated, they're smart guys, they're funny, they're well-to-do. But some of my friends in my mastermind, they like wearing ball caps and shorts. Well, that's not what the lawyers wear. And so they're more comfortable working with home service industry, and they're much more comfortable at that conference. So personally, I like hanging out with lawyers. Call me crazy. And I think it's the bad lawyer propaganda. We're going to turn that around here on the 10 Golden Rules podcast. Tell us a little bit about your business. Like, what services do you generally provide to law firms?
Well, I have a vast array of services, Jay. Everything from processes, procedures, systems, operations, all the way to the other gamut of rainmaking with attorneys, developing them to attain what they believe is attainable, but don't know how to get there.
I love it. Why don't we just jump right into the 10 golden rules of how to run your law firm? Because Bianca is, as she said, a career long expert in this area. And she's helped so many folks I know basically structure a law firm for success. When they lose employees, she helps them hire the employees, train the employees. She's helping C-level executives with high-level business strategies, including profitability and succession planning. So she's really, really covers it all when it comes to making your law firm work. But today we're going to really start at the start, and we're going to go through how to make your law firm super successful. So the first one, and this is Bianca's words, start from the bottom up. So what do you mean by that?
Well, Jay, so many businesses are focusing on the people they consider making the revenue for the firm, which are your attorneys. And they're not really focusing on all the people that it takes to get you where you want to go. So everywhere from the receptionist all the way through your CFO or fractional CFO, it's really important to engage them, to ask their opinion. We're always trying to come with the way to do it, what to do, when to do it. And if we just put even a one-on-one or a small committee together that focuses in the area of their day-to-day, I bet you're going to come up with solutions that you didn't even think about. And that will just help springboard you to where you need to go. And the right person for the right amount of salary is doing the work. We
So,
always
so
have the top guy doing the work. Yeah,
start from the bottom up is about hiring, right? So what are some great strategies for hiring the best people?
Well, I think if they have the right skill set to begin with, the only thing you're hiring to at that point is attitude. Attitude is everything. And it has to match your environment, the atmosphere, the way you structure your vision and your mission so that everything is aligned. And hire that A personality, maybe you're gonna pay a little more money. They are usually the right people to hire. Might be a little bit of conflict and personality, but they're going to get the job done.
So you believe hire for attitude, train for aptitude?
Correct.
We also are super focused on our culture at 10 Golden Rules. And I'll talk more about the EOS operating system, but we've clearly defined our mission and our core values. And in every part of my job as the visionary is to debrief every prospect on the company's core values, which are fun and easy, expect excellence, own it and solve it, and lead the trends on innovation. So I take all prospective employees through that. And I say, look, if you don't expect excellence in your work, in your coworkers, if you don't deliver what you say you will, when you say you will, you're not going to really fit in with our team because our team has extremely high standards and values. And a lot of times, like if an employee's not working out, they come to me, my staff comes to me and they say, look, we've been covering for this person for a couple months, but they're not cutting it. So the culture is a beast in and of itself. What do you recommend to nurture culture?
Well, again, it's about buy-in. If you do not allow your people to have buy-in, say so, they're going to be a little apprehensive to be honest with you. And honesty is the best policy, especially in the legal world where ethics is on high. And you want to make sure you dot those I's and cross those T's always.
So the first golden rule for running your law firm and succeeding is start from the bottom up and start with your people. The second one is run your business like a business. And this is the one I've been talking about a fair bit lately from Stages. And we've done a great webinar on EOS and we had a fantastic EOS panel at TJR Live, our live conference last month. And EOS is the entrepreneurial operating system. There's a great book by Gino Wickman called Traction, and another great book I recommend for the visionaries called Get a Grip, which is actually told in the fable in a story format. It's a lot. If you're the founder of your business, read Get a Grip before you read Traction. But EOS, the entrepreneurial operating system, or scaling up, regardless of which business system you follow, highly recommend following a business system. And when I say run your business like a business, I mean, since we've gone to EOS, we really have aligned our roles properly. I'm in the role of visionary, and I'm doing things that I love doing and things I'm good at. And other people on my team are doing things that they love doing and things they're good at. And going through the weekly accounting statements wasn't one of the things I love doing or I was very good at. Now we've got someone who loves doing it. And guess what? It's getting done all the time and getting done properly. My counsel for run your business like a business is really have a system, and I highly recommend EOS, but definitely have something like that in place. Bianca, why don't you comment on run your business like a business?
So when I think about running your business like a business, it's not only the day to day, it's about what you're putting yourself in position of is being that visionary as well. And to have the goals, make those milestones, get to those rocks out of the way and really just make sure that you're doing what you like to do. For me, Jay, my favorite saying is work on your business instead of in your business. If you're the leader of the pack, you should be the visionary. You should be scaling yourself where you have people supporting you. And like myself, and being a coach, I'm like the drug dealer, right? I'm pushing you, I'm giving you what you need, I'm making you get to where you have to go. Or on a simpler note, I'm your GPS. Give me some good information, I'll get you where you want to go. Bad information, we're lost.
I love it. Work on your business, not in your business. And if you're still starting out, a lot of times, like early in my career, I would always make Fridays my day, and I wouldn't schedule any client meetings, and I would work on the business on Fridays. Do you recommend something like that as well?
Well, I take a little different approach. Your Friday has 8 hours in it. So how about giving yourself an hour and a half every day to start your day, breathe, take a breath, look at what your goals are for that day, for that next 3 days, that week, and it will allow you to set yourself apart from everyone else. Because many people that when I go in to work with them, they say, oh, well, I take every Monday off just to do marketing. Okay, good for you. How's it working for you? Well, I don't know. That's why I brought you in. So sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Great. So number two is run your business like a business. Number three, financials. Why don't you talk about what's important in financials, planning, forecasting?
Yeah. It surprises me how many law firms I go into, they have no idea where they're going, just that they're making money. And that's not the end all catch all when it comes to finance. It is so important to have a budget, stick to that budget, plan, forecast, have someone come in like myself and evaluate, are you pricing right? Are your fees at the right level? Or are you just chasing whatever the market is doing? And is that allowing you to get the biggest bang for your buck with the shakeout to the bottom line so you have put more money in your pocket? There's so many formulas that I've worked on for the last 40 years that when I speak to my attorneys, they're like, I never even thought of it that way. Like, hello, we can make a lot of money together. Let's talk about it.
And when does a firm go from needing a bookkeeper to really needing a true CFO who is doing planning and forecasting?
Right from the beginning, Jay, there are so many fabulous fractional CFOs out there. There's fractional marketing people. There's even yourself. There's fractional people you could hire. It's not like you have to
Yeah,
make it,
hiring an agency is like hiring.
yeah,
We really fulfill a CMO function, chief marketing
that's
officer.
right. That's right. And I think that's fabulous. And every time I look, there's such a great umbrella of these fractionals out there. They're maybe still a little costly, but you know what I like to say, Jay? You're on their team, but not on their payroll.
I love it. Systems, processes, and procedures was the fourth one we came up with. What do you think are the super important SPPs?
Yeah, the SPPs. In everything you do, and you can talk to any OCD person, which I am not, they actually have systems and processes and procedures because they can't do it any other way. So the one good thing about people that are OCD is they do everything the same all the time and it's very consistent. It may be annoying. I hate when someone straightens out my pen, but it might be annoying, but they do it the same way every time. So with every single thing we do, from the receptionist greeting people at the door all the way to your back office trust accounting, however you decide is the way you want your firm to operate has to be bought in by every individual in that firm. It does no good if one department does it one way and another department does it another way. This is the hardest thing to get under control with any company because you even see it in something as simple as naming a document. And once you get everybody with buy-in, the only way to do that is to get them to the table with you and see what works and doesn't work for them, and then shake out the medium. And that's where your systems, processes, and procedures should lie.
And it's super important to get to that next level too, because you just pointed it out like two different departments are using different naming protocols and different systems and procedures. It's very, very hard for new employees to figure out what the heck to do. So at 10 Golden Rules and using the EOS system that we mentioned earlier, entrepreneurial operating system, there's a thing in the books called SOPs, standard operating procedures. And so a big part of the first year or so of getting rolling with EOS is you write those standard operating procedures. And so we put them in a couple places. We use a software, project management software called ClickUp. And we also have a lot of checklists and a lot of Loom videos that show employees how to do something. Because part of being excellent as a firm is if you figure out a great way to do something, then you document it. And the next time you do it the same way. And then if you test something and you find a better way to do it, you revise your Loom videos, you revise your training docs. Like I always use the example of, and a lot of firms are adding second and third and fourth and seventh locations. And so we're often setting up a new Google business profile, which is your Google Maps address. And so a lot of times we're setting up that new Google Maps. And so we've now documented the best practices. What are the practice areas? What are the best ways to set up the address? What are the best ways to set up the photos and things like that? And we've learned best practices by trial and error and through the industry and through other experts and things like that. And so we document all of that in our SOPs, standard operating procedures. It goes in ClickUp, and there's checklists and Loom videos for a new when an employee gets assigned the task. And then it's also great for training. Like if the employee doesn't get it right, you can refer back to the checklist and say, how'd you do it? How'd you not do it? Next one up is appreciation. And you picked this one. So why don't you go first?
Well, in all the years that I've been in business, I found there's really only three or four things anybody really wants out of that business. One is recognition and appreciation. Two is money. Three is position, whether it's a title or stepping up into an office with a window. And then three is to know that they bring value. I mean, four is to know that they bring value. And the recognition is super important. It could be a simple thank you. It doesn't need to even be more. Or suddenly, after 6 months, you've given a paralegal business cards because you want her to hold herself out to the rest of the world that she works proudly for this firm and you're proud of her as well. Just simple, simple things just like that. A gift card. We always think we have to throw more money at people, but the first thing they want is to be appreciated
Yeah, there's
and
a great,
recognized.
again, I keep referring back to EOS, and part of why I love the book's Traction is that it gives us answers to all these things in a simplified way. So one of the things is called a core values shout out. And every time an employee does something that reinforces your core values, we post it in our Slack channel and we do it. I just did a couple core values shout out in a meeting we had with the team this afternoon. And so every time that you recognize, it gives you a format for recognizing clients doing the right things. And then it reinforces your core values and retrains on those core values. And like all of our employees can quote the core values now. We're about a year and 3 months into full EOS implementation, but it allows everybody to recognize everybody else. And it allows everybody to sort of reinforce the things that we believe makes our company special.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. That's for sure.
So let me hit the first five again as a refresh. The first one is start from the bottom up. Second one is run your business like a business. Third one is financials. Fourth is SOPs or SPPs. You called it systems, processes, and procedures. And the fifth one is appreciation, showing recognition for your staff in different ways. Number six is network. You called it networking. I called it rainmaking. It's a very important part of building your business. And we're probably both in the top 5% of networking. I'm speaking on our behalfs. Why don't you talk about what you think is important for lawyers to learn about networking?
Well, it's definitely a function that you need to do. When I coach with my C-suite managing partners, owners, we always talk about every single day you have to have a networking moment. And I call it networking because, yeah, you're rainmaking, you're looking for the final take, so to speak, hoping they'll become a client or at least do business with you. And networking is more like mining because if you're not networking, you're not working. So it's part of the work day. So whether it's a coffee, a breakfast, a lunch, a cocktail, a dinner, or just a pure networking event, it's something that should be on your calendar every single day. I promise you, your business will grow by 20%. Can't guarantee it, but I will promise you it will grow by at least 20%.
I love that. So I call it rainmaking. And there's, if you really want to delve deep in this, we've had two rainmaking webinars and they're on our YouTube channel, the 10 Golden Rules YouTube channel. But, some of the things that I think are super important in this category is that referrals are such a huge part of business, every business. And every law firm will tell you their best cases or most of their cases come from referrals, either from referring attorneys, past clients, referring strategic business partners, professional services. How do you build that referral network? And the first thing is we always talk about know, like, trust. And an advanced one is know, like, trust, refer. So I'm not going to recommend Bianca the first time I meet her. But when I see that she shows up consistently for our lawyers networking group, and then she takes a leadership role, and then she chairs some meetings, and then she says some really smart things, and then people speak really highly about Bianca, over a period of time, I get to know, like, and trust her. And then maybe we break bread or go for coffee or spend some time at an event, a cocktail party for the group. Second thing is one on ones. And a lot of people don't know this term, and I didn't know it early enough in my career. But basically, if all Bianca and I ever did was go to the Florida Lawyers Network and we only showed up a couple times a year, there's no way we would develop a relationship. There's no way we would be able to refer each other business because a one-on-one takes it from a much higher level. So when we meet up at an educational monthly meeting or a cocktail party, like you only get 2 or 3 minutes. Hey, how are you? How's business? How's the kids? It's very superficial. But when you do a one-on-one, like if you have lunch with Bianca and I spend some time together, I get to learn about her family. I get to learn about her business. I learn about what's a good referral for her, the kind of questions I ask. So one-on-one, super important. The next one I call 111. And that's a little different from one-on-ones. Everybody should be in three groups. So one would be a professional group, like we're in the Florida Lawyers Network or you're in the Bar Association. The second one would be like a personal, and maybe you're in like the men's club at your church or something like that. And then the third one could be more of a passion. So personal, professional, and passion. And that might be your kid's soccer team. But don't just go to the soccer games. Get on the committee, help raise money for the annual trip when you go play at a tournament or something like that. Get to know the other dads or moms and get a little bit involved, and then make sure that you spend some time getting to know what's a good referral for their business or their life, and make sure they get to know that you're a personal injury attorney or a family law attorney. Because the worst thing is one of the kids on the soccer team gets a divorce and you don't get the case if you're a family lawyer. Another thing I say is, and this is from my friend Jeff Michelle, shout out to Jeff if he's listening, is collect passions. And I learned this from Jeff, and it's a great question to ask in networking. What are your hobbies? What are your passions? And then write that down, like keep it track of it. And then when I go back to someone, I can say, hey, how are the Raiders doing, or whatever they're really into. And then the final one is, this is an advanced tip for those of you who are pretty good networkers, like you're on Bianca's level. And one of the things I learned from another friend of mine is that some of the best referral relationships to make are with other people who sell to the same niche as you, other people who do what you do. Let's say a lot of people would be super focused on, we're talking about lawyers and you want to always work with lawyers. And so a lot of people would try and do all their networking with lawyers. But that's a mistake, because I want to build a relationship with Bianca, because Bianca probably has 50 lawyer clients. I have over 50 lawyer clients. So I can make 50 referrals to Bianca. So I'm a much better relationship rainmaking referral partner for Bianca, and she is for me, than one-on-one with attorneys. So any other last thoughts on networking and rainmaking?
Absolutely. The biggest failure to rainmaking and networking is not following up. It's follow up, follow up, follow up. It's not just a meet, it's that thank you note. It's following up in 2 to 3 months, like you said, with that tidbit of something personal and or asking a question that you know they can solve. That is the way you stay connected, and that is the most important thing. And I did want to add, as far as working with other, let's say, business partners that are not lawyers, when you're working in the lawyer space, my first two clients came from business partners who I'm forever indebted to,
Love
because
it.
they went into the space, they saw an issue, they said, you need Bianca, and guess what? My career took off.
That's a great point, by the way. And the handwritten note is such a great thing. And I want to give a shout out to Aaron Anderson. And Aaron is a rock star recruiter. And so if you're an attorney and you want to hire attorneys or you want to hire paralegals, I'm giving a shout out to Aaron Anderson, because Aaron Anderson, the first great referral I gave her, not only sent me a handwritten note, but she did research and found a great restaurant in my area and sent me a restaurant gift card. And it was very nice. So, Aaron, thank you. And everybody, if you're hiring, reach out to Aaron. And she's actually been on one of our podcasts. So you can learn more about Aaron Anderson. The next one up is cross train and cross sell. And I do cross fitness, but I'm going to let you talk about cross train and cross sell.
Absolutely. At one time, I worked with Hank Adorno from Adorno and Yas, and he was not doing this with our 89 attorneys. And I brought it into the firm, and we started cross-selling, doing dog and pony shows for every area of practice. And when we had a conglomerate or even a municipality within our organization, because we were one of the largest minority firms in South Florida, we would put on a little bit of a 7 minute dog and pony show. And we gained so much traction with clients that existed by letting them know what else we did in the firm. It is amazing. And the best place to do that, Jay, is on the golf course.
I love it.
We would mix
Yeah,
our two sims, two different areas of practice. They weren't playing with someone familiar to them. And we did business all day long. Now, the alcohol didn't hurt, but we did business all day long on the golf course.
I love it. Cross train and cross sell to sell business from multiple practice areas. It's a great one. And half of it is that people just need to know what else you do, and then they'll
Mhm.
think of you for referrals as well. Next one, number 8, training and continuing education. Want to take this one?
Sure. Well, the greatest gift that you can give to your employees, your staff especially, even your attorneys, is continuing education. And I'm talking about retreats, team building, bringing somebody in for a lunch and learn, like Ma, and really giving them something more than a lunch, more than just a thank you. They will love you to death. I tell you right now, it really goes a long, long way. And if you want to know more about that, I'm happy to do that. The training, I can't tell you how many people tell me they've never been trained. They were showed their desk, get to work, and just go for it. And that is the saddest setup for failure that you can do to any employee. So if you need training, what I used to do when I was with my firm for 20 years, that new employee got a t-shirt that said "Do not disturb" on the back. I'm in training. And all day for 2 weeks, they were trained on every aspect. Every person was the least the least time any person spent in our firm was 14 years. We were in business for 21. That's pretty good.
Rock star level. I love it. Couple thoughts on training. First of all, it the attorneys should train themselves. And I said this at our conference, 10 Golden Rules Growth Strategies for Law Firms. At the start, I said, everyone, please stand up and give yourselves a round of applause, because it's the 5% of people who go to conferences, spend time getting educated, that are really the top 5% of law firms. There's zero question in my mind that the people who succeed are constantly learning, constantly striving to get better. And maybe the second part of that that's equally as important is they execute on what they learn. Like, here's my quick pro tip for the conference that I gave everyone right at the start of our conference. I said, take your journal. And I gave everybody one of these little blue binders. And I said, open it up. And you'll see it here if you're watching on YouTube, if you're not on the video. I said, open it up and write action items on the first page of your book. And then I want you to scroll 4 pages further and write down notes. And after every presentation, I said, okay, I want you to go through your notes and I want you to star the top 4 or 5 things you learned from this presentation. Now I want you to go back and look at the star items. What are you going to take action on? What are you going to commit to get done after you go home from this conference? And one of the great things is you need to do the learning, but you need to execute. Any tips on execution?
Oh, wow. I'm not sure first that I agree with attorneys training themselves because they walk into a firm and they're pretty blind to the first thing, which is business ethics, which I train to a fault. And I just think that anyone that sticks to implementation of any sort also repeats back what they believe they understood. They'll get it right every single time. And always strive to go that one extra mile, one extra step. So, ethics, really focus on what you're doing, repeat back what you learned so that you're billing properly, because that's really the disaster with new attorneys. And to also just go that extra mile. Education,
I
always.
love
We must
I
learn
love the
all the
extra
time.
mile. Under
Yeah,
promise, over deliver. Great strategy.
absolutely. Absolutely.
We're coming up on time, so we're going to go quick on the last couple ones. Work-life balance. What was you thinking on that one?
The word that comes to mind is boundaries. You really have to set boundaries. But when you're growing in a law firm, especially attorneys, if you know the expectations of the partner you're working with, you will succeed. If they're a nine to fiver, is it okay for you to be a nine to fiver? Maybe, but the expectations might be more because they paid their dues a long time ago. So find out what the boundaries are. If you don't ask, you don't get. And if you don't implement what you're told, then you've just ignored whatever direction they want you to go in. I think that's really important, and you do it at the get-go. You might not get hired because they want more out of you, but at least you won't be miserable. And find that right adjustment.
So for me, work-life balance, two main thoughts come to mind. Number one is you got to find time for personal fitness. And I've been cranking the 75 hard program for a couple of years now and working out. For me, it's like just go every single morning. There's no excuses. There's no days off. Unfortunately, I missed a day. I was at over like 100 days when our conference came along, and the first day of the conference, I just couldn't get it done because it was like from 6 a.m. till like 9, 10 p.m. and I was exhausted. I could barely even walk my dog. So personal wellness, personal fitness gives you the energy to be like positive with your team. When I'm not working out, I can be pretty cranky, but obviously it gives me a ton more energy. So you got to schedule that. The other thing that I've learned, and this is another pro tip, is you got to schedule your vacations and you got to schedule your days off, because like we think to ourselves like, hey, I'm going to take time off, but if I don't put it on my calendar, I'm swamped with meetings and it's super hard to carve out time. So I carve out time for the important conferences and travel. And here's another pro tip: have a family meeting and plan out like when you're going to take some vacations. And if you do it well in advance, it's much less expensive and all the other reasons why you'll get it done. So, number 9, work life balance. And drum roll, please, number 10 of the 10 golden rules for running your law firm like a boss is exit planning, sustainability, and succession planning. Bianca, this is one of your areas of expertise. Hit it.
All right. Well, first of all, don't wait. That's my first warning to you. It's never too early to start planning your exit strategy. Your sustainability is always ongoing, and checking that and measuring it and making sure you're on point of where you want to go. And of course, look, time flies by. You turn around and 10 years are gone. The sweetest spot for you to start your planning is before you turn 50, so that you at least have 15 years, if we're going to use the number of Social Security, 65, to get to where you have to go. Minimum is 5 years of planning. And that's if you go, yikes, I'm 60 years old. I did no planning. What do you have to do? You have to put some procedures in place. If you're lucky enough to have one of your nieces, sons, daughters, cousins, brothers work with you in your business, then there's a plan there, especially if they're younger than you. If there's no one to leave your business to, don't throw it away. We can figure out all types of things. An example I can give you is merging into a firm that wants you there at senior level, and you work out for 5 years, segueing your clients into that firm, adjusting them to that firm, and then having a buyout or a payout over time so that you still have residuals. It's possible. If you want to talk to me about it, I've done it already. So let's talk about it.
So talk to Bianca. That's a great tip. Another good one I like. I read a book called Built to Sell by John Morlow, and I got to know John and worked with him on some stuff. He has a great podcast where he interviews folks who sold their business. But the most important thing I would share from that book is you have to build a business that isn't reliant on you as the founder and the visionary. So if 10 golden rules requires Jay Berkowitz to sell, requires Jay Berkowitz to do the marketing, requires Jay Berkowitz to go to all the client meetings, then I can't sell 10 golden rules. And we're not selling anytime soon, by the way, for the happy clients. But over the long term, we're building a business that I can take a vacation and the place will still run phenomenally well. So really good book to read is Built to Sell. Well, we did it, Bianca. We got through all 10. I'm going to list them super quick. But the 10 golden rules of running your law firm like a business. Number 1 is start from the bottom up. 2, run your business like a business. Work on the business, not in the business. 3 is have great financials and get a fractional CFO when you're just starting out. You can't just run with a bookkeeper. Number 4 is SOPs or SPPs, systems, processes, and procedures. Number 5 is appreciation, and that's mostly for your staff, but also for past clients and referral partners. Number 6 is networking and rainmaking, how you can become that rainmaker who makes it rain business on your business. Number 7 is cross-train and cross-sell. Number 8, training and continuing education. So great training for new employees, for ongoing improvement for your existing employees, and training for yourself, getting out to conferences, listening to podcasts and webinars like this one. And really, if you're not getting better, you're falling behind. And the last one is exit planning, sustainability, and succession planning. Bianca, this was awesome. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Last 2 questions are super easy. What's a great referral for you? Who can we all send your way?
Anyone that just wants to brainstorm. I know you hold yourself out as a visionary, but my brain has been all over the place with hundreds of attorneys that all bring their own flavor. You know, we got vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry when the machine only makes vanilla. And I love to share that information because I'm very passionate, and passionate never fails.
By the way, when I say I'm a visionary, it's not like it's some ego thing. In
No,
in an EOS business, there's 2 key roles, the visionary and the integrator. And that VI duo, it's called, is what makes a business go.
know it well. Know it well.
But I'm kind of visionary too.
You are the visionary.
And final question, where can people get in touch with you?
Well, I kept everything simple for you people. My website is biancamoreiras.com. All my information is there. My phone number, my email is there. My email's flipped, moreirasbianca@gmail.com. And I'm always available for a chit chat, cup of coffee, or to see where we can meet and have like minds work together.
Of course, links will be in the show notes, Bianca. This was awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the 10 Golden Rules of Internet Marketing for Law Firms podcast. Please send questions and comments to podcast@10goldenrules.com. That is podcast@tengoldenrules.com.